Rooted Connections podcast. If you're returning, welcome back. And if this is your first time here, we're happy to have you. This is the Rooted Connections podcast where we have real conversations about life, how we grew up, what's going on with us now, and everything in between. And I'm sure you will have a wonderful time on this episode. My name is Uju, and as usual, I'm here with my girl.
Hi everyone, welcome back and thank you for joining us again. And as Uju has said, we're so excited to have you guys on today. We have hopefully a packed and very interesting topic.
Absolutely. So girl, what's up?
I'm good. I feel refreshed.
Feel refreshed?
Yeah.
Why?
I just do. I think I've done a lot of sort of explored a little bit of what I've always wanted to do. So traveling, which has been great. I've just recently come back from New York, which has been on my bucket list for a really long time.
New York is amazing.
So, and I had a really good time and I definitely want to go back. But I think this time I want to go back with adults. Because I went with my kids and my mom and, to be honest, don't get me wrong, it was amazing. But I feel like New York is a city that you explore with adults, without children, and without an older person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The dynamics will be different. So I want to explore it from that angle. But don't get me wrong, I would say that even with having my kids and my mom, we still had an amazing, amazing time.
I'm sensing girls trip, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yes.
We need to do girls trip.
We need to do it. We've been talking about this for so long.
I know. I think we should do rooted retreats, yeah?
Rooted connections, Times Square.
You get.
That'll be mad.
You get it. I think, guys,
It'll happen.
we need to make it happen, right?
It'll happen.
If you're with us, let us know. Let's organize something.
Yes.
The rooted retreat. New York.
Yeah.
Girls only. For our male viewers, sorry. Let's start with the girls. Then we'll bring you in.
I'm sure there'll be lots of side eyes right now. But yeah. I think that'll be fantastic.
It will be.
It'll be great.
I think you heard it here first, right? So when we do plan it, you guys need to come with us.
Yeah, definitely. It'll be... No, honestly, I think it's a city that, if anything, once in everyone's lifetime. It's
that you need to see, right?
I really enjoyed it. I loved every minute of it.
For some reason, I want to go to New York in the winter. I don't know why. Maybe it's the movies, it's all these Home Alone and all these movies that just make you feel like you need to see New York with all the snow and all of that.
Yeah.
But I really want to go back in the winter.
Yeah. I don't like the cold outside. I like the cold for sleep, but not outside. But yeah, I think it'll be pretty nice. It'll be very nice.
Christmas. Yeah.
Christmas in New York.
Or Christmas period. Maybe not Christmas itself, but at least that season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I think it'll be fab, yeah?
It'll be good.
It'll be awesome. Okay, so we need to make it happen.
Yeah. Here first.
You heard it here first. So when we do it, you guys need to come on with us. So in usual fashion, we start with an icebreaker, right?
Yeah.
So Pam, you've got the question today. What is it?
Okay, so I think we've done this before, but not in this fashion. So basically the question is, what 3 words best describe me? So I'm asking you the question and vice versa. What 3 words best describe me?
Okay.
Because I think this flows very well into our topic for today.
Words. Well, I will describe this in
words, and then you can elaborate on it. Yeah.
One I would say is nurturing. You're a very nurturing person.
Oh, thank you.
No, but you are.
Thank you.
And it's not just, you're interested in not just, when I say nurturing, it's like a holistic thing, because it's not just feeding people. Like, you're interested in people's well-being. Like, you're proper interested, you're proper invested. So I would say nurturing, definitely. The second word, I don't know, should I call it activist? But Pamela is one of those, if there is a wrong, she has to right it. If you feel like somebody is being cheated, or somebody is doing something wrong, or somebody has said something that they are not supposed to say, or she's a social worker, you can see why she went there. But yeah, so she's one of that. I think you're just that kind of, you have that activism, or should I call it what's the word I'm going to use? But yeah, you get what I'm trying to say.
It's actually quite a contradiction to how I see myself.
Nobody. Now that
but
say
I totally, yes.
I think not see it in yourself.
I think I can, when something feels wrong, I can really hone in on it and
absolutely. If you, and it may not, funny enough, if it's wrong to yourself, you're not quite as.
That's, I think that's it really.
Yeah. If somebody has wronged you, it may not even come off as strong, but you have a very strong sense of justice for other people.
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean?
I see what you mean.
And I think it links to that your nurturing aspect as well. You know, once you can't, Pam cannot be there and there's an injustice, she will speak up. That one is for sure.
Oh, thank you.
So that's 2. What will I say the last? There's too many things that are coming to my mind. It's to hone in on one. Okay. I think the last one I would say is sister. Is a word to describe you. Like, you are my blood.
Oh.
So yeah. So you know, whatever sisterhood means to you, that's my girl.
Thank you. Got tissue.
Oh God. Why you like this? Why are you like this?
Oh, that's so. I don't. How do I follow up from that now?
Well,
okay. So, Uju, how will I describe you? I think one of the things that you're quietly loyal. You're quietly loyal. And I say quietly, I know there are 2 words, but there are 2 words that I feel sort of
they go together to describe what you're saying.
And I think you know what I mean. So you're not somebody that you don't shout, you're not, out there doing the most. But when you are loyal to a cause or to a person, you're 100%. You don't do half measures.
Yeah.
But you're not somebody that you don't do it for everybody. Right?
I have my people.
Yeah. So you don't do it for everybody because you're just somebody that is easygoing. Right? But those that you feel are your people, you're loyal. Another word I would say is that you're the perfect description of I can't kill myself.
I can't kill my diary.
You're the perfect description of I cannot kill myself. You try really hard not to do past what your power can carry. And I think it's a gift.
I say that you say that, but I've had to learn it.
Yeah. I think from as long as I've known you, it's something that you've always had. But I think with obviously growing up, married, children, obviously you've had to learn to take on more than what you would normally do. And it's been so beautiful to see how you've evolved.
Oh.
But even in saying that is still a part of you that I think you still hold very dear. You're somebody that when something just feels like this is too hard and it's going to kill me, it's going to break me, I'm going to give it a minute. And that's something that actually I need to learn to do because I don't know how to do that. So that would be another. And yeah, I think I would right back at you. You're a sister.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think our friendship has evolved way more than friendship. I think that's I don't have sister. Like my mother decided that she was going to have 2 boys. She did not give me sister. So yeah.
You had to adopt.
I had to adopt. Yeah. So
it's all right. I accept that position with my full chest.
Yeah. So those would be my description of you.
Oh. So guys, how will you describe us? We'll be very interested to know.
It'd be nice to hear actually.
I know, right?
It's always interesting because I feel like the way that I see myself, when I hear people describe me, sometimes doesn't align. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I totally get that. And so when they explain it, it kind of makes sense. And you think, oh yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Thankfully, usually it's not negative.
Yes.
Because I think maybe our character is the kind that you dwell on the negative. So when people say something negative about you, it's not really something you've not heard before. but it's the positives that tend to shock me a little bit more. Like, oh,
Yeah.
you think that? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Oh, actually, that now you say that, actually, I forgot. There's one thing you know how to, and I think this is something you've only recently, and I'll say in the last few years, recently discovered about yourself, which is you know how to bring out things in people that they didn't know that they had.
Wow.
So that's one that I would say that is, and I think that's something that you really need to hone in on. It's a gift, because there are people that I know that you've personally reached out to that, you know, you felt this person has more to give and they can't seem to see it. So I feel like I have taken upon myself to help them see it. And so yeah, so sorry, I know you said 3, but I just remembered that one. I thought to add it.
You know what? I would never have actually described myself like that.
But now that I've said it, does it make sense?
It does. Because I think for me, it's one of those things that I sometimes wish people did for me earlier. So when I see that opportunity, I tend to take it quite personal.
Yeah.
If you see what I mean.
Yeah.
So yes, now that you say it, it does make a lot of sense. But I wouldn't have thought to describe myself as that.
Yeah. And you know, when you talk about some of the people I don't even know, I've never met,
that I carry on my head.
Carry on your head. This person. In fact, I've been sending her job applications. I think there was a lady at where you used to work before, and you're like, it is my personal duty. She was like, what is your own? She's like, no. She has a lot more to give. I said, okay, that's good. It's good. No, but it's true. And a lot of us need people in our corners to see us in that way. You know, there's I think life just lives a lot of the time, and you know, sometimes you just get stuck in a bubble, so you kind of need somebody to burst that bubble and get you out of it. So
absolutely. And I see it more in women. So when these people you're speaking about that I used to work with, a few of them, it's mainly middle-aged women who look at themselves and think, this is it.
Yeah.
And you know, my dreams are not valid anymore because
I've had
kids, I'm past I'm married, and I'm like, no, you can't. And you know, I it's lovely when I see a lot of them. Some of them I don't even, you know, they've gone on to do other things, and you know, I don't even know what they're doing now. But just that joy that I was one of the catalysts that made this person believe enough in themselves to try. It's amazing. One I used to work with, she's like, you know, I've been in this job for the last, I think she'd been there 15 years. I've only ever done that I'm just going to, you know, ride it out here till I retire. I'm like, I don't understand. I'm like, I don't understand. And she's like, no, honestly, Uju, I can't do anything more. I was like, what do you mean? I'm like, she was like, oh, she's done just admin. I'm like, and?
So she doesn't see herself more.
Yes, and I'm like, but you do realize that you can lead a team of admin staff. And she was like, really? I was like, yes, you've done 25 years in admin. Don't look at it as it's too small. You can actually...
How do you evolve and take it?
Do you understand that you've done this thing for 25 years? You've got 25 years of experience. You should not still be the doer at this point. You should be the one telling the young guys how to do it. And now she's left there. She's moved on to do something else, and she's, you know, moved on to bigger and better things. And I'm like, girl, you see?
Yeah.
You just can't do it. So, but you know, and it's something that I think, it comes down to the fact that I wish I saw myself differently earlier. To push myself to. So when I see that opportunity, I take it. To help other people to see themselves differently.
And like I said, I think it's something that you need to really hone in a little bit more into, because it's good. It's a gift.
There's so many things I need to hone in on. God, please help me.
We're about to blow. I said it first. When the millions have come,
there will be signs. There will be signs. You will just notice some things. There will be signs.
Oh my days.
So guys, today's episode, it holds, in fact, the essence of this podcast is our friendship, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's
what
the
kickstarted it.
thing that kickstarted it. So today we're going to be talking about friendship, particularly friendship in our 40s.
Welcome to the club. Officially, you're welcome. Now you cannot talk to me. You are 40.
I know, right?
You can't speak to me.
I know.
Don't try it.
I know.
I
know.
In fact, you're well into your 40s now.
Well, Pamela, calm down.
No. Just saying. Do you know how long you kept going on about? I'm still in my 30s. I was patiently waiting for you. You are here now. You are welcome. Welcome to the club.
Thanks. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much. It feels good to be here. Maybe for another episode we'll talk about how we celebrated that. But
that's a whole vibe.
That's a whole
vibe. Yeah.
Go and check my Instagram. You see it there. But so we're talking friendship. What friendship was like growing up in our 20s, in our 30s, and what friendship now looks like. So what's the evolution of friendship, let's put it that way.
Yeah.
We speak from our own personal experiences. And quite importantly, we talk about things like friendship hurts because, we don't always give it enough, should I say, credence or credit or the impact. Sometimes some people grieve the loss of a friendship.
Oh, yeah.
And you look at it and you think, is it your husband? Is it your boyfriend? Is it your wife? Why are you so hurt or why are you so pained? But sometimes I think friendship hurt can be really deep.
And the funny thing is, I actually think that friendship hurts sometimes even hurts deeper than relationship hurts, as in relationship breakup.
Yeah.
Because I think there's a level of trust that you have, and depending on what it is, because different things can cause friendship breakups. And just something that I particularly have been reflecting on more recently. And I think obviously, I think we've talked about this whole idea of when you cross the age of 40, your tolerance for nonsense really, I don't know about everybody, and let me not, but I think generally speaking, people who are in our 40s now, most of our friends are sort of there, when we have these conversations, it almost feels like there's this level of when life is lifing. I know I've said this a lot. Life is lifing, and you don't have the capacity to take on the things you'd have taken on in your 20s, the things you'd have taken on in your 30s. Now you're dealing with more complex issues of life, right? So to add on any kind of burden, friendship, especially from a friend, or anything that feels like it's pulling you back, or anything that feels like actually this person is not in my corner. And sometimes I think friendship kind of needs to evolve beyond this person is my friend. It needs to be, what does this person bring into my life?
There needs to be some substance, right?
Exactly. And I think that is kind of where we are at the moment, where you're evaluating some of these friendships and you're thinking, actually, is this still serving me? Do I really consider this person as a friend? But what people don't really tend to talk about a lot is the grief that comes with that.
Yeah.
It just feels like, I'm no longer friends with this person, but there's a history.
Absolutely.
That, it hurts because this person who was probably a big part of your life at some point is no longer
there. There's a hole.
There's a void.
Yeah.
And that definitely comes with some level of grief that we don't really talk about.
So let's circle back then. So let's go. I'm going to discount teenagers and all of those because we didn't really understand anything. And, I find it very impressive, to be fair. People who have been friends since, day dots and are still friends into 40s, 50s. That's impressive. But what would you say friendship was like in your 20s? What was the criteria, if any, to be friends?
I think for me, my personality, which I think over time I would say has now somewhat evolved, but I'm generally somebody who is open and welcoming to everyone. So I didn't really have a criteria like that for friends. Everybody was my friend. As long as, we can vibe, we're good. I didn't really need to oh, this person has to be tall, this person has to be nice, this person has to be. I think because of that, and this is not something I openly like to admit to, but I think a part of me, which I'm really working on now, is I used to be a people pleaser. You know, I just liked to give I used to give myself, not expecting anything back. So when people do for me, it always comes to me as a surprise. Do you understand? It's always like, oh, really? Like, that's nice, because I'm the one who tends to always give, right? And so I didn't have a particular criteria. As long as we're good to go, we're good to go.
As long as you are vibing,
Yeah, well,
it was just vibes.
I would say that. And as long as, I think, sad to say, as long as they were happy to receive what I was giving, it didn't mean anything.
It didn't matter to you that nothing was coming back the other way.
Yeah.
Yes, it's interesting you say that. Generally, I would say yes, in our 20s, a lot of the friendships were very surface. You get what I mean? A lot of friendships
very few, you would say,
very surface. But of course, I have, friends now that I made in uni that these are my sisters, they're my blood. You know, I may not speak to them every day, but we shared a lot of there was a lot of deep connection there. But in general, I wasn't thinking about criteria in choosing friends, if you see what I mean.
If you just click,
if you click, you just, I couldn't put a thing. Now that I think about it, it's probably there was a value system that aligned.
Possibly, yeah.
And that's the reason why the friendship with those people were deeper than with other people. But I didn't actively choose them based on our value system, if that makes sense. It was just, we click, we vibe, we go to a party, we do this, we do that. And in our 20s, we moved quite as a pack a lot.
Yeah.
You get it? Even into our 30s as well. It was kind of, you're friends with a pack of people.
And I agree but I think that it starts to shift more in your 30s.
Absolutely.
Where it starts to really, because at that time, there's things that have now come into play, right? So you're not dealing with friendship, you're not dealing with boyfriend breakups now. You're dealing with real life situations, like you're married, you've got children. You're not making calls like you used to because you're working. There's a lot that now starts to affect the friendship.
And I think that's when the real substance of your friendship now starts to come out.
And then what you then tend to find is that it then starts to dwindle. Your real true friendships, the people that are supposed, like, you start to find that those friends that you thought were your friends in your 20s, actually, there's now like the shift with some of those friendships, where the people that you'd have called your friends in your 20s, your teenage years, your 20s, even maybe early 30s, what you tend to find is, without you even realizing it, some of those friendships are not really friendships anymore. It just naturally fades out.
So I'll ask the question, do you think marriage affects friendship? And should it?
Yes and no. So okay. So for me, friendship, and I think this is where the substance of friendship really comes into play, right? If you're married, what you tend to find is that a lot of the time, if you're married to somebody that embraces your friends, right? Because what we had, and I think within our friendship circles, is that our spouses we all just connected as friends. So husbands and wives, we're all still friends. Does that make sense?
Okay, so you go from
just being friends to so it's more like
the couple is now a friendship,
exactly,
a unit. Okay,
so I think one of the things that affects friendships, which I think there's been quite recent discussions on this, I think on Instagram, that I've seen, where, for example, if a lady has remained single,
Yeah, I was just gonna say, because
Yeah.
then what then happens to friendship with single ladies?
It becomes difficult. I think not that you can't stay friends with your single friends, and I think it's actually important that we retain some of those friendships.
Absolutely, because there's substance to those friendships.
There is, because there has to be more than just you being married and having children that has developed that friendship. But I think what tends to affect the friendship is when you're now dealing with certain things, right? And it almost feels like this person cannot relate. For example, if the person is single, they might have more time on their hands, right? Because they're not dealing with marriage, they're not dealing with children. And then it's about hopefully managing those expectations. That maybe times where I could ring you 3-4 times a week, I can only manage at the weekends. I can only manage once every fortnight. And so if I'm not then ringing you, or you're the one who's ringing me, it almost feels like it's now more one-sided. So those are the things that, I feel affects the friendship. It's not because we stop loving each other or stop liking each other, or I think you're no longer a good friend. I think the expectations are different. And so it takes a lot of intentionality from both sides to really work on the friendship. And I think that if that's not there, that's then naturally helps the, should I say, impact on the friendship.
Yeah, I think it's then there's the guilt, I think, sometimes that comes into that situation where maybe I'm married, my friend isn't, and I'm not showing up as much as I used to.
Yeah.
And then I start feeling guilty, like I'm not showing up for my friend. And sometimes it then goes unsaid, and my friend might also then feel hurt, like I'm not really there for her, I'm not showing up for her as much as I used to. And then there's then that unsaid tension sometimes.
Yes. And that builds up resentment.
Absolutely. And it's not like, so yeah, it's not like there's a fight or anything. It's not like there is a disagreement. It's not like you love each other less. And some people are very good at picking up where they left off. Do you understand? I have friends that I may not have spoken to you proper in 6 months, but when I pick up the phone, and I treasure those people so much because they understand.
Yeah.
Because they know my heart.
Yeah.
And I know their hearts. If they don't pick up the phone and call me, I know their hearts. That's this person is still my person. It's just life is very different.
But then that's what I was talking about, expectations, right? So just on that point, I have at least 2 people that come to mind. That one in particular, who we have been friends in secondary school, right? She's my girl. Anytime, any day. If I ring her today, I'm in trouble. I know she'll drop everything and she'll come and support me. But in a year, sometimes maybe we'll speak 2-3 times in a whole year. So we're in different continents. Obviously, she's back in Nigeria. I'm here. But when she comes, we try, or when I go to Nigeria, I try and see her. But that's my person, right?
Same.
That's my person. That's my girl. Any day, anytime.
Yeah.
But like I was saying, is that we both understand that I love you, you love me. That hasn't changed. But we're both in different,
Spaces.
exactly. Yeah. And if those expectations are not managed, and that's what I was talking about, the real intentionality and knowing that, if you don't trust and believe that I'm your person, that is then what then starts to affect you. This girl, who do you think you are? You haven't spoken to me in such a long time. How are we friends? But no, I think friendship goes deeper than that. And that, they're different friends for different reasons. They're friends that I think that are really there for certain seasons. There are certain friends that I will feel more comfortable to share certain parts of myself with. And there are certain friends that we just vibe, where there's a party or there's a girls trip, there are some people that I will easily reach out to we can do those things. But is what I think really, really affects a lot of friendships is that we both have different expectations of each other. and that then tends to affect the relationship in terms of how we connect and how we, talk to each other and how we relate with each other. And I think that's what kills a lot of friendships.
So I'll circle back a little bit to the conversation we were just having about how marriage changes friendships. And, if a couple of months ago, I was having this conversation with another couple, and the lady raised something which I never considered, and I think is so true, which is that a lot of friendships in Nigerian or African marriages tend to be centered around the man. So if the men don't get on,
or they don't approve of your friend.
So a lot of the couple friends are the guy's friends and the guy's friend and the wife. Not as many are the wife's friends.
Yeah.
Have you noticed that as well?
I think there's some truth to that, actually. I think there's some truth to that. And I is it to do with the whole the man is the head of the home? Does that have anything to do with that? I don't know. I've never really thought about it, actually.
Yeah, until she mentioned it, I had never thought about it. And when I stepped back to think, I was like, actually, that seems to be true, and it's maybe, I think you're right, it might be down to our cultural thing where, generally, if you were not in the same church, for example, the woman will now start going to the guy's church. So a lot of the woman is expected to move.
To make adjustments.
You move into the guy's house. You move to enter into the guy's life. As opposed to the guy moving to fit into yours. Now, if you are already in the same friendship group to start off with, then obviously it makes no difference.
Yeah.
If you already, you went to the same church, you already had the same friends, it kind of life just continues as is. But for a lot of people who've had to make that move, or two worlds colliding, as they say.
So it's more the wife that is giving up her friends.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And then embracing the guy's friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And especially if you were one of those who married early. That's another thing. Because if you were one of the first to get married in your group, it also then becomes tricky because
most of your friends are still
single. And so your husband does not have your friend's spouse to bond with or whatever. So then that also starts to affect how you relate.
And again, going back to expectations, if your friends are still doing what single girls do, you can't do that anymore, right? And they're not going to stop their lives, they might once in a while, but they will, and then it's like, it's just funny how the human mind works. Even, I'm not going to lie, right? You can imagine, like, this is you and your girls, you do all these things together, and all of a sudden now you're married, but you're seeing your girls, they're putting pictures on Instagram, they're doing girls trip. They've not invited you.
You can't go.
You're like, why didn't you guys tell me about? Say,
they will tell
you are married.
They will tell you, but you're not part of the
married. Plan. You can't just, now you have to ask your husband. You have to. It's not just you just hopping and going. And, hopefully, if you have an understanding husband, but you can't do everything that they do.
You can't, especially when you now start having children. That's another layer.
That's another layer. Oh, so, it's all these dynamics are so funny.
Did I not tell you that my mom called me when you got married?
When I got married?
Yes, now.
Are you serious?
Yeah. She called me. She said, hey, so that I have to have a conversation with you, blah, blah, blah. I was like, I was thinking, what did I do? She said, like,
you never told me this before.
I didn't tell you.
No.
Say your friend is now married.
Wow.
I said, So she's like, oh, Pamela that. I'm like, okay. She said, yes, you have to leave her to settle in her husband's. I'm like,
wow.
Okay. Like, I hadn't even considered. When you haven't considered
that we all used to live in each other's houses.
No, but she's like, but what she was trying to get at is dynamics have changed.
Yeah, true.
So you have to have sense and understand that she's not going to be there as she was before. So you have to understand that the dynamics, but the way I'm looking at you, that you're just jumping up and down. My friend. Yeah.
I love mommy.
I was like, okay. But and that's really the point she was trying to make. And I wouldn't lie, I did not even consider it. I didn't think
That
before
it would
then
change
that
anything.
there's going to be any change. I'm like, we continue vibing as usual. But yeah, I think she noticed that this my daughter doesn't really have the
You're still a child.
yeah.
Let me.
And this girl doesn't understand the dynamics of and it's good she did so, Alexa. So it's at the back of my mind. So if you couldn't turn up for
I
something,
couldn't tell though.
yeah,
I don't think anything particularly changed.
but at least she brought that to my consciousness. So the fact that if for whatever reason you can't do something because your husband didn't want you to or whatever, or you have maybe wanted to do something and you're like, no, I'm going with my husband to X. I can't feel somehow. I shouldn't feel somehow about it. Yeah. That's essentially what she was trying to tell me, that her commitments are now different. Your husband has an event which you have to go for. I cannot have said, but we plan to do. No,
that definitely
that trumps whatever plan me and you have.
Of course.
So it's essentially what she was trying to get at. So yes, it was. Thank you, mommy.
But it's interesting as well, because I remember one of the conversations I had with her, and I don't know whether it was prior or after to marriage. One of the times when you guys were still staying in your flat in town, and I came to visit you because your parents were around, and she was saying, I think it was close to when I was getting married, and she was like, so it's now making sense why she made that comment. She's like, that no friendship is as important as you and your husband.
There you go.
Your husband is the first friend before any other friend. I said, okay, mommy, thank you.
She was trying to tell us you should have sense.
These old people, they have sense.
Yeah, and they see things that we can't see. And, because we were 20s at the time, late 20s, but we were still kids. We didn't really understand some of these things.
So should we actually go again while we're circling back? I think so that we don't drift, if we hone in a little bit on the whole reasons for the friendship hurts and breakups, yeah? So there's a scenario that we saw on Instagram. So we can talk about two, but there's one that I saw online and I just wanted to
go ahead.
Read it and then we can talk about, and then you can talk about yours and we can sort of compare. So it says Elaine and Ria have been best friends since high school. They bonded over music, heartbreaks, activism, and everything in between. Their friendship felt unshakable. They were like family. But now they're in their early 30s and things feel a little bit off. Elena is focused on healing, therapy, and setting boundaries. She's working on breaking cycles from her childhood. Rhea, on the other hand, avoids anything too deep. She brushes off Elena's growth as too intense or not that deep, not that serious. Rhea still wants to vent about life and gossip like they used to, but Elena feels drained by the one-sidedness. Every conversation ends with Elena feeling emotionally heavy, like she's giving more than she gets. Elena finally sends a long message. I love you, but I don't think we're in the same place anymore. I feel like I've changed and the space we used to share doesn't really feel safe or mutual for me anymore. I think I need some distance. And then Rhea responds, so now you're too evolved to be my friend. Got it. And just like that, a 15-year-old friendship dissolves. They didn't fight. It was very quiet but painful unraveling of two people growing apart. But this is the point that I was trying to make earlier. That some of these friendships and I think that's the hurt we don't really talk about, is that as we grow older, sometimes life takes us on two different pathways.
Yeah.
And I think what some of us probably don't realize is that maybe we don't communicate it as we're going and not carrying the other person along, or the other person doesn't want to be carried along. I think that's how it feels reading this scenario.
Yeah. And I think in this scenario, right, there is maybe at its roots, there is the way I read it, there's a value system that is not quite aligned there. If you see what I mean, because there's no way, like if you're growing as a person and you're sharing that with me and you're saying to me, I think we need to, you're encouraging me, like we need to do some, soul work together, these are the benefits of doing this thing together and blah, blah, blah. If we're connected on a deeper level from a value system, I should be able to catch what you're saying. I'm not saying that people don't grow apart based on, life happening. But in this kind of scenario where somebody is doing personal growth, is you're learning and unlearning and you're learning, getting deeper as an individual. That's where your values are really tested.
Yes. But then it goes back to the point we made earlier about the criteria for friendship in our 20s. Because for some of us, you might just click because you like the same music, you like the same food, you like the same parties, or, you just find yourself in the same friendship circle. Like you said, we're in a pack. But I think that as we start to evolve and we start to get older, sometimes life even presents certain things and vulnerabilities that you're not ready for as my friend. For example, not that like this hasn't happened to me, disclaimer, but for example, somebody gets raped, for example, right? Or somebody experiences a really earth-shattering shift in their life.
Yeah.
And the way that I want you to show up for me as my friend, you're not probably mature enough to do that. You can't really, not because for the lack of will or not because for the lack of love for me. You just don't, my expectation from you as a friend is just not, you're not matching that.
Or what you even need.
Or what I need.
I may not be equipped
and
to
you may
give
not,
it
exactly.
To you. Yeah.
And so those little things, and they might be big, they might be little, but those things is kind of what defines the friendship. Because if you can't show up for me in the way that I want or the way I feel I needed to show up for me, right? In that moment, I then stop seeing you the way that I see you as my friend. And, some people are bold enough to have those conversations. In some instances, it's just a natural drift, that we just go our separate ways. Yeah.
So let's talk distance as well. What does distance do to friendships? Because I think that's another thing that a lot of people are going through now with the whole Jackpot movement. By Jackpot, we mean relocation permanently to a new country. A lot of people have built friendships together, be it in Nigeria, be it in the UK. But, life happens, people relocate, family reasons and what have you. Then you go from seeing each other every day, which was the basis of, your friendship. You were always together. Then you now have different time zones. Your morning is the person's night. And then, you can't really have, those, it takes a lot of effort, which sometimes, especially for the person who's left.
Yeah.
Because the person who's left,
you're having to adjust.
You're trying to learn a new system. You're trying to make new friends. You're trying to form a new community. And you can't always, when I say it sounds bad, but you can't always be looking back. You have to look forward, don't you? Isn't it? So whilst you really want to hold on to your friends of before, you love them and all that, but you have to develop new relationships. You have to build a new community. So you then get, issues. And some people are really hurt by it.
Yeah.
Particularly the one who
left behind.
Who feels left behind. Like it feels like you've moved on from me. Or when I call, there's always this other person you are talking about. Who is this person? And people don't really talk about the hurt that sometimes comes with. It's like, who are
moving
you?
on to another friend.
Yeah, it feels like you've moved
kind of feel
on
like somebody else
me.
is taking up your space.
Absolutely. But it's not really the fault.
We don't talk about it, but actually it's a thing.
It's a big thing, and I think it can be very painful.
It is.
When you feel replaced.
Yeah, of course. It's very painful. It's very painful. I think just like with every relationship, right? work is needed.
Yeah.
And you can't just leave things to love, because a lot of the time, even I know we talk about it a lot in marriage and, relationships as in, dating and whatnot, but love is not always enough. There's a level of work that needs to go into every friendship.
Yeah.
And if this person means, like I said, I gave an example earlier about my friend who, she's never left Nigeria. She's always been in Nigeria. She travels a lot, but we don't really get to talk as much. She knows I have friends, I would say at some point she was my bestie when I was in Nigeria. But, even recently I saw her when I went and, she's talking about her own friends. I'm talking about my own friends, but it still I don't think she feels replaced and I don't feel replaced in her life. But I think that what people don't know how to do is people don't know how to create space for people without replacing. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you can still be Uju to me, but it doesn't mean I cannot create space for somebody new. And so in doing that, it almost feels like I need to replace Uju or make Uju feel replaced. Do you understand? In that space in my life. But actually, is it possible that everybody can have a space or hold a space in your heart in terms of what, in the sense of what friendship actually means? Because for me and you to have vibed for such a long time, and I think even now there's no excuse. I think back maybe 20 years ago where communication was hard, where there was no WhatsApp call, where we used to rely on calling card.
Oh, man.
Do you understand? I used to have to go and buy calling card. After a while, I can't. I'm sorry, I can't do it. It's
we
too
have to buy
expensive.
special phone,
It's
we
too
moved from
expensive.
calling cards to, you can buy Lebara or like a
Exactly.
mobile. So
Yeah.
you have two numbers.
So,
and
and that's the work I mean. I don't have to, yes, I'm going to make, and you have to also understand that I'm going to make new friends. I'm going to have a village. Everywhere I go, I need, we all need that.
Yeah.
But I still have to make you feel safe, where you know that you are still that person to me. Even though I've got this new village, it doesn't stop Uju from being who Uju is to me. If I relocate today, I still want to believe and trust that, distance shouldn't affect how we feel about each other. We might not talk often.
As much, yeah.
And even now, how often do we talk in a week?
It's not like before.
Do you understand?
It's not like when my mom had to warn me.
Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
But when we do talk or when we do chat, we talk. In fact, I even say, we talk too much.
We do actually.
Do you see? But does that replace all the other people in my life?
Absolutely not.
So that's what I mean. Like, people need to learn to create space. You don't have to replace.
Sometimes I don't think it's even...
But sometimes it might be a natural...
Or it's a perception of it being replaced. I don't know how to explain it. And the truth is, where there is physical distance, there is some sort of replacement, because I have to hang out with somebody else.
Yeah.
Your friend has to hang out with somebody else. But I think it feels worse where you're the one who is left behind in quotes because you feel the void more.
Yeah. But I think one of the things that we need to learn to do in friendships is have difficult conversations.
100%.
And I think that is one of the things that really affects friendships. We build up these quiet resentments
and not have those
not
hard conversations.
Have those very difficult discussions. I mean, if I don't send you, I don't send you. Do you understand? There are some friends that it's never felt, should I say, mutual, right? But there are some friends that I hold really dear. And if I feel like you stepped, not intentionally, again, I need to know your heart towards me, right? If I feel like you've done something, and you might not do it intentionally, you might not, and I know that this thing you're not doing it because you hate me, or you're not doing it because you want to intentionally hurt my feelings.
But you're hurting on the...
I have to feel safe enough to call you out and say, babe, you might not realize that you're doing this, but this is how I'm feeling. And then it gives you the opportunity to correct that perception that I'm starting to build about you, right? Where you can tell me, actually, I'm really sorry. It's not because this is I might not even know that you might even, that you're going through something in your life in that moment, why you felt distant. It might be something that's going on in your, with parenting. It might be something going on with marriage. Not because you don't want to tell me. It's just at that moment in time, you're just not in the right headspace to be that friend for me. So having those discussions then opens up okay, I get it. I know why. And also, apart from having difficult conversations, we need to learn to give grace.
Absolutely.
We need to learn to give grace. Like, we're all adulting right now. There's so much that is going on.
Right.
Do you understand? And I might not be able to tell you, even though you're my sister, I might not be able to tell you every single detail of what is going on. Absolutely. Even me, I'm still trying to process it.
No, because honestly, especially when you're dealing with people who are married, or even if you're not married, you're just having a relationship with somebody else. The truth of the matter is, there are aspects of that dynamic that I wouldn't expect that you will share absolutely everything with me. Do you understand? So there may be something that, as you say, you're trying to work out, you're trying to understand. So it might affect how your outlook to life is, or how you relate to me, or but the key thing is, how do I? So if you come and tell me, Uju, you've hurt me about something, what's my reaction?
Yeah.
If I double down on what are you talking about, then that's where there's a problem.
Exactly.
That's where there's a problem.
My feelings are not valid.
Absolutely.
And I'm not important to you.
But if I'm able to go, sorry, even if I don't even offer you an explanation, but I'm able to, just
acknowledge
and apologize.
I think, in fact, even sometimes acknowledgement is even more powerful than apology. Because sometimes an apology can feel very, like you're dismissing me. You're just saying sorry just because.
Yeah.
Do you understand? My younger daughter, she hates people apologizing to her, which is really strange. She wants you to, first of all, tell her that you understand why she's upset. Don't say sorry first. Just say, I get it. I understand why you're upset. Okay, then she can accept your apology, which is really funny.
But yeah, it's something I came across recently. Apology language. I didn't know it was a thing. In the same way you have love languages, there are apology languages. Yeah. So some people want you to just come and grovel and beg. That for them is you've apologized. Some people want to know your plan of action.
Yeah.
Like, how are you going to make sure this doesn't happen again?
Yeah.
They need to know that for them to accept your apology. Yeah. Some people want to know, as you say, like with your daughter, you have to express and let them know that you understand fully well what it is that you have done.
This hurts that you caused
It's not just telling me sorry. Do you really get it?
Yeah.
And some people you have to do something. You have to buy gifts.
Yeah.
Or something like that to seal your sorry. But I didn't even know that it was a thing until recently.
Makes sense.
That there are actually apology languages, but I was reading it in the context of relationship, but obviously it applies to everything.
Yeah.
To everybody you have an association with, as to how you apologize and how that gets heard. And to this point, it reminded me of something I saw, a scenario on, I think it's on the Uncalled podcast, where this lady, she said she had whether it was a miscarriage or the baby died, I can't really remember. I think it was a miscarriage, and she already had a name for the child and all of that. Years later, her friend, one of her besties, now decides to name her child this same name. And she felt some way about it, like obviously because that name brings up a lot of memories for her. And she told the friend about it, and it's to this point we're saying that one just completely dismissed it, like. And I'm like, is that really a friend?
So, and I think that again, there's a friendship breakup that just feels like we've become two different people, not because we don't love each other. We have just evolved in two different directions. And then there's a friendship hurt where somebody, I feel, has intentionally, like someone shows themselves in a way that they've never shown themselves before. There's a level of betrayal that comes with that is really hard to put into words. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Because I want to try and imagine that if you're my person, I mean, there's some things that is not relative. It's common. Like this is common sense. Do you understand? If you are my person, and I want to assume that name is not a common name, so it's not as if it's
yeah. So I when I read the story at first, I'm thinking, oh, maybe she's just doing it in honor of the friends maybe that she lost. Then it turns out they are not even the same tribe.
No.
So it's like, do you understand? Like, I will now determine how to give my child a Yoruba name, for example, for no reason.
And I think you know what? And this is kind of going back to the earlier points when we first started talking about this whole thing. I think we need to get to a point where we can normalize ending friendships. A friend that no longer serves, if you can't see how that is something that is painful and hurtful. I lost a child with that name. And you're naming your child. It's not because you're naming your child because you're trying to honor me.
No.
You're not honoring me. You're making it blatant to me that, well, I don't care about your feelings. No, then you're not my friend. You're not my friend. And, you know, this is something that I've been learning to do very recently, where I'm evaluating friendships. And if you're not serving me as a friend, we don't have any business being friends. You just get to the point in your life where this person no longer serves me. I can't stand eye service anymore.
Yeah.
I can't. I don't have the capacity because I'm busy. So anybody that is my friend now, or anybody that I consider a friend now, is somebody that, yeah, like I said, we don't have to vibe every day. I don't have the time for that. But when we gather, you are bringing value to me, I'm bringing value to you. And I might be the same for some people as well, which is, I'm good with that. I'm okay. I might not be your friend. But we need to learn to normalize that. Yeah, you know, no hard feelings, but you're not my friend. And that's okay. We can't be friends. It's okay.
So I think you've really entered where I wanted us to end this episode, which is, what does friendship mean to you now? Which I think is what you've kind of touched on now.
Which actually brings me to a post I saw on Instagram that I wanted to read. Oh. So let me just see if I can. I had it up just now.
While you're getting that, I think I'll just touch on, maybe from my end, I think what I think friendship should entail now. I think whilst I think you touched on something where you said what is the person bringing to you, but I think there is a certain realness that I expect from my friendship now. I shouldn't be trying to hide and pretend and to form that I'm something else. I need to be able to show
How do you know we're in summer? This fly wants to be part of this podcast so bad.
But yeah, I think there's the realness. Number two, I think there is the accountability.
Yes.
My friends should be able to hold me to account. Like, if I've said I'm going to do A, my friend should be calling me like, Uju, why haven't you done this A that you said you're going to do? Then there should be a general upliftment, I think, when it comes to friendship. Like, I know we say people grow at different paces, but my real friend cannot be growing and I'm remaining stagnant and they're not pulling me along or telling me something. Do you understand? It's different if they're telling me and I'm
choosing
adamant to stay there. And if that is what is going on and that friend gets to the point where they decide you're not serving me anymore, they are 100% within their right to do that. You see what I'm saying? Because they are growing, they have pulled me. I say I don't want to be pulled. Yeah. Then they are very much, within their rights to do that. But I think that is generally, it's not surface anymore. Friendship at this stage now.
No, it can't be.
It's deeper than that.
It can't be. So just so that we end on that note, and I think some of what you said is summarized in this post. But it says, friendship at 40 is different. It's not about who shows up for the party. It's about who stays for the hard conversations. You stop needing more friends. And I think we touched on that. You start needing real friends, real ones. You outgrow performative plans. It's not nourishing. It's not happening. Small talk. No thanks. Let's talk about real life or not talk at all. You start choosing people who match your energy, not just your history. At 40, friendship becomes less about proximity and more about presence. But I think just on that point about presence doesn't mean that me and you are I think it summarizes that. It's not about how often we catch up or meet up in person. It's about who is there, you know, who is there to listen, to hold your hand, to have the difficult conversations, to support you, to be there for real. And you're not building a social circle, you're choosing a tribe. And that kind of friendship feels like home. That's what I don't think you can really
There's nothing more to
add
to that.
anything more to that.
Absolutely. And
So on that note, who's your tribe?
well, let us know. What does friendship mean to you in your own sphere of life at the moment? What is it that is essential? What are the ingredients that you need to see in friendship?
Yeah.
So on that note, catch you on the next one. Don't forget to like, share,
and subscribe.
Bye.